G'day, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Detour Live. We're going to recap another huge day of Stage 11. Iffy the Oracle tipped Caleb Ewan to win. Off to a great start, John. But we've got a very special guest. Iffy, we're going live to the team car. And we've got Matty Hayman, Matty Wilson, and Andre the Mechanic. Fellas, welcome to the show.
Nice to be on the show, mate. Heard a lot. First time caller. Long time.
Good stuff, Matty. You're in the big game today in the front car, mate.
Yeah, when the chips are down, look, the plan is to go up the road, and I think both Matty Wilson and myself are pretty excited to be in car 2 at the moment because we'll be in behind the breakaway. So far, we haven't been in many breakaways because we accidentally fell into the yellow jersey. So now we're back to our original game plan, and really excited about today. I came down here and reconned this stage in June, and it's going to be a real cracker.
Who we got penciled in from the Mitchelton Scott boys to have a crack today?
They're all going to be in the breakaway, otherwise there'll be no dinner. And we're just leaving Gates back in the bunch. So, look, it takes a real team effort to make the breakaway in these Tour de France, and you don't always get to pick. But yeah, ideally we have somebody who can climb okay, and we have one or two of the big guys. I'd like to see Luka Mezgec get up there. I don't think he knows quite how strong he is, and he's climbing really well. He's been having a go in the sprints, and it hasn't really gone his way this tour. So I think if he got in the break today, he might actually surprise a few people.
Now, talking about breakaways, I remember a famous day at Torino when both you and Durbo were the only guys in the breakaway, and I was in the car behind, and I grabbed the microphone. I was giving you a few tips, and I miscalculated one of the corners, and I think I told you it was full gas. And was it Durbo? I think Durbo binned it.
We'll blame it on Durbo. I know 100% for sure that it was I who binned it. But, Durbo dropped it right in front of me, and I went over the top of him. And so we did a rerun of that in the Tour de France a few years ago, actually. So Durbo and I are always keen for a breakaway. But, today I don't think it'll be just two guys out the front. I think we're going to have quite a big group. Just putting some markers in here. It's a little bit windy here at the start of the stage, so I'll just make sure the team car knows that. Durbo and I are always up, but today is going to be a hard fought. I think it'll be the who's who of breakaways, your Thomas de Gens, your Alaphilippe's up the road today.
How have you found the transition, Matty, from being a bike rider to a DS?
It's there's a lot of things that I wasn't expecting, a lot of things that I didn't know were going on. I mean, just this morning pulling into the team parking and just the little things that you didn't know were going on when you're just focused on being a rider. There's a lot of logistics that I wasn't aware of that were going on in the background. And then I guess the other big thing is being in the team car and not having the information. When you're a rider, you really know what the riders are feeling, you know which guys are going well, you know exactly what's going on. And when you're in the team car, you're just kind of guessing for a while until you're trying to piece together from little bits of information, little bits of television. You're trying to piece together what's going on in the race.
Iffy?
I was just going to say, you must now have a lot more respect for what a DS has to do. Back in the old days, you were probably saying, easy piece of cake.
Yeah, look, it definitely is. And I told the boys, and I used to sit in the team bus and say how hard can it be, and now I realise how hard it is. It's a lot different than I kind of expected, and probably a good idea that the boys jump in the car every now and again and just see what's going on. There's a lot of time where there's nothing going on, and then there's periods in the race where it's really hectic, and you're trying to juggle a lot of different things at once.
Now, we've got a few fan questions coming in. One is from Alan. He said, it was amazing following Matt in the 2016 time trial. He stopped and gave his bottle to a small spectator on the side of the road then continued on to the finish. Is that true? Did you stop mid-race to give a bottle away?
Must have been a different. Must have been. It doesn't sound like me. Must have been a different Matt.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, mate. I know we did have some Aussie supporters in a couple of the follow vehicles at the tour. Yeah, look, when you
we're having internet dramas, and he's gone. Oh well, we got a good chat into Hayman whilst we had him there. Now, obviously, Iffy, we could not have Matty Hayman on without showing a snippet of the 2016 Paris-Roubaix. It's what he's really known for now. So this is the final of the Paris-Roubaix from 2016.
Matthew Hayman has won 2 professional races. Tom Bowden 109. The odds are stacked against the Australian. That the underdog has gotten up before.
One left to go.
Hayman nervously in second position. Tom Bowden is on the fronts. Van Mark is panting, but Van Mark knows what's required. He was second to Cancellara 3 years ago. Up the top of the track, so too Matthew Hayman. He's getting the run up. He's taking advantage of the potential dive.
Go, Matty.
Momentum onto the wheel of Tom Bowden.
Come on, Matty. Let's go.
Go, Matty! Into the wheel, and here comes Seth Van Mark. Tom Bowden is boxed in. Hayman is leading out. It's Stannard around the outside. Hayman with his nose in front. Bowden is trying to challenge, but it's Matthew Hayman. It's an early birthday present. Hayman holding on. Hayman wins.
Yeah!
We won it!
Go, the police. Yes!
Can you believe it?
Great job, Matthew. Great job, mate. Great job.
You won it!
Once it's out, who's that track?
Believe it? Can you believe it?
Wow.
Oh, God. What a freak.
Go right here.
What a freak! And the freak's back.
Ah, he's back.
And Matty,
both of us.
how many times have you reckon you've watched that backstage now, Hayman? Be honest.
Oh, yeah, too many. Gets brought up.
Is it like shaving, part of your morning routine? Just flick on the last couple of K?
No, look, it's actually becoming part of my memory of the race now because, the actual memory of being there is kind of fading. And, when I think about the race, it tends to conjure.
Hey, Matty. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, mate, I think Dan.
That I have, it's nice also to.
Yeah, there's a bit of a delay. You're right, Iffy.
I was going to say, I think, Matty, I think Dan watches it more than you because he was a bit bigger in those days and he looks at it now to see it because he looks like he's lost some weight.
What, then or now?
No, now you've lost weight, mate. You were bigger back then.
No, it's I'm wearing a black jumper for a reason, Iffy. It's slimming. But yeah, obviously it was a pretty special day. Have you trademarked the phrase "always keep riding"? Because it's I think the lesson also of Roubaix is really good, particularly during the middle of a pandemic when people are looking for motivation. It really is a good clip when you're feeling a bit flat to get fired up. And your story, the perseverance that you had is unbelievable. And he's gone.
That's good.
Yeah, perseverance with internet as well is something that we need to work on. But anyway, we've got a massive show, Johnny. Like, hopefully Hayman can reconnect at some point, and we've put the feelers out there for Robert McEwen. But we also caught up with the voice of cycling, Johnny, earlier today, and it's always good to have a chat with Phil Liggett. Now, before we started the interview, you had a few internet dramas, which isn't new, and you missed the opening couple of questions, mate. Hang on, Hayman's back.
Hey.
You there, Matty? Can you hear us, buddy?
Mate. I'm trying my best to be there. I'm trying my best.
That's all right, bud. So how far away are you from the start? Look, it's only about 15 minutes to the start. Is that correct?
Yeah, look, we're 15k up the road now, so we're just finding a spot up the road, and we'll pull over and listen to race radio. Try and get some images of what's going on at the start of the race, and then we'll decide kind of what we do from there. If one of our boys are in the break, we'll pull in behind the breakaway. If not, we'll just edge ahead in front of the bunch and wait to get the good.
So that whole plan is quite smart, John, because if you're all in the convoy behind the cars, it's actually hard to get to the front. So they're sort of preempting the breakaway. We've still got a few internet problems, but that's all right, mate. No stress. We'll check in with you down the track when the internet issues aren't as bad. So. No dramas at all. All right. Well, as we said, we caught up with Phil Liggett.
Just before we do that, I think Robbie says he was about to come on, so we'll just see if we can get Robbie McEwen live. Okay. It would be great. So I've just he's been texting me back and forth.
Okay.
So,
chuck Robbie in before Robbie comes in. Let's have a look at his analysis. Now, Robbie is becoming quite the professional with the touchscreen. New technology for SBS Cycling Central this year. It's very much like the old school Channel 9 cricket commentary team when they put the circles and squares in. But he is absolutely excelling at this like a school professor. So this is his analysis of the sprint last night.
As the sprint continues on, watch Sagan. He squeezes past Venturini. And then there's this moment, big talking point. Peter Sagan and Wout van Aert. Sagan says, I don't want to be any closer to the barriers or get hit by a spectator. I need to make room. Shoulder into the hip and the ribs of Wout van Aert. He makes enough room and he starts to squeeze his way through it. And already we started to think that's going to be a problem. Meanwhile, other side of the road here, Bennett straight through, going for the line. He knows he's got the speed to pass the other two already, but lurking right on his wheel, coming out of the slipstream already and making sure he's making his acceleration on time today, not leaving it too late like he did yesterday. Caleb Ewan is coming, but it is going to go to the photo finish. So Peter Sagan squeezes through. Van Aert, he really holds on well, but as they hit the finish line, here's the evidence of who got it straight away. Look at the difference where the handlebars are from Caleb Ewan and Sam Bennett. While Van Aert squeezed out.
Pretty good analysis there from Robbie. And before we go, Hayman's back. This is like Roubaix. Like you thought you dropped off and the internet's dropped off and he's joined the front group again. Hayman is back.
I'm just checking your handiwork there, how quickly you can queue up a clip and, get talking on another subject while I'm... So.
Oh, mate, over the last 12 days, we've had that many dropouts. We've become accustomed to that. Now, we're looking at the sprint from yesterday, and we've got a question from Vazzy. Was Peter Sagan's penalty appropriate? What's your thoughts on that, Matty?
Geez, that's a good question. It's a tough one. Look, those guys are crazy. We know they're crazy. They all do it to each other. It doesn't make it right. A lot of the riders are lobbying for safer races and safer courses. And, I think there has to be a level of respect amongst the riders themselves. So it was definitely borderline. And I'll leave that up to the commissaires. But, I think they're feeling that there has been a general mood that the riders want a bit more safety, so they're going to come down on that.
What do you reckon, Iffy? Fair call or?
Yeah, no, fair call. There was no room. I mean, you can't just barge through and make room. If there's if Van Aert had left a fraction of room and then moved over, yeah, he'd have an excuse. But there was no room. He just said, "I'm going through." A bit arrogant, I thought.
Now we've got Robbie McEwen, who's setting himself up now. Robbie, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Hey, how are you, mate?
I can hear you, Dan. I've geez, I got a lot on.
You're a popular man. We got the boys in the car. We got Matty Hayman, Matty Wilson, and Andre in the back.
G'day, boys. Good to see
Now,
you.
Robbie, we're doing you a favour, Robbie. You can start doing some. You can start doing some research for your commentary now, mate. You can get all the insights you need about the breakaway.
Dan, I don't do research.
That's Keno's job, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I reckon I've taken 20 years off Keno's life by the amount of research I don't do.
It's like the classroom, you know, the sports jock that steals all the homework off the nerd. Would you say that's a fair assumption?
No, I just let him do the work. I don't even steal it.
That's spot on, actually.
That's spot on.
Yeah. So, Robbie, the guys were saying that they're preparing for a breakaway today, and all the Michelin Scott guys are going to be having a red hot crack. How do you think it's going to pan out? You there, Robbie?
What?
We got
No
so
internet on
Hayman,
Gold Coast either.
you've got better internet in the breakaway up the road.
Southern France.
Yeah, Robbie's
He's back. He's back. We
I'm
lost
back,
you, mate.
back. I don't know what's going on with the reception here.
Yep.
So we're just asking, Robbie, what do you think will happen
Back.
today? What's your thoughts on what's going to happen today, Robbie?
Oh, it's got to be a break. And the only thing that would maybe pull a break back, or at least keep it close and keep some pressure on the field, is if Peter Sagan's in a real mood, if he's hell-bent on revenge after yesterday, that we might see something a little bit like what they did a few days ago into Lavore, where Wout van Aert won the stage, rip the race to pieces, get rid of all the sprinters, get rid of Sam Bennett. Because if Peter wants another green jersey, he's going to have to fight tooth and nail. He's going to fight for every single point to try and drag him back. And it's got to start today. If he doesn't start today, I don't see him winning green. I think Sam Bennett can take it all to Paris.
It just seems that he doesn't have the condition this year, Robbie, and people are already talking that it looks like, you know, the best years are past him. Do you think that's a bit premature given the limited lead-up races a lot of these guys have had before the tour?
Yeah, well, Dan, I honestly think Peter Sagan's just underdone. His aim this stage was he to do a really good Giro. He wanted to for once. You can see why he never gets out of riding the Tour. That's an obvious one, but he wants to ride the Giro, and it looks like he's come into the Tour underdone. He's only had the Dauphiné as far as race days goes. It was all mountain stages. It was only 3 days, and I think he's underdone. He'll get better as it goes on, because honestly, yesterday, if he didn't have to shoulder into Van Aert, if he could have ridden cleanly through that gap, I reckon he would have won the stage, to be honest.
Well, he's only lost it by a couple of inches anyway.
That's right. But as you know, Robbie, in the sprint, sometimes, you know, you don't have much choices but to swing the head around.
Don't go there, Jonesy.
Is that right, Jonesy? Is that in your experience?
In all of your sprinting experience.
Oh, here we go. It is like the schoolyard. Now the bullies are ganging up.
Well, you stick your head in there, Jonesy. You got to cop it, mate. Yeah,
well, that's right. I don't know if Robbie's got Wi-Fi issues or he's checked out after that offensive feedback.
Your comments.
Yeah, that's right. Did you get that, Robbie? No.
You got it all right.
Freeze
Look at
frame,
him,
freeze
he's not happy
frame.
with you, don't you?
You got any other questions, Iffy, before you lose a lung, mate?
Oh, keep whacking
I've
in,
got a
mate.
question for Iffy.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Is that Alp d'Huez jersey you got on there, Iffy?
It is, mate.
Yeah, there you go.
Geez. I remember you went and picked went and picked one of them up for all of us at top of Alp d'Huez. My first time I finished on the top of Alp d'Huez.
I did. I had to do three trips for you guys. Yeah.
3 trips to the gift shop.
Exactly.
Oh, this
exactly.
is
I think-
Robbie, you're back.
I think. Oh, here we go. I think the dial-up internet at the hotel is becoming a bit of an issue. You there, mate? He's just going to another room. Geez, this is sensational live streaming, folks. We appreciate everyone just hanging in there. Any news over the radio, boys? Is a break formed yet?
No, kilometre 0. They're not even at kilometre 0 yet. What time was stage start?
It's just started now.
Just started.
Okay.
So we got 4K of neutral, and then they'll be on the way.
All right. Well, we probably were going to chat to Robbie about the sprint stage, but I think his internet's dropped off. So we'll have to come back to him another time. Johnny?
Oh, that's a shame because I really want to talk about last night's stage with him. But anyway, let's see if he comes back. Yeah, good luck today, fellas. And we might try and touch base with you, Matty, along the route. If the break gets up the road and you get behind them, we'll try and catch you just for a second and get an update from you.
We'll see how we're going. We're going to be out in the woods today, so there's not a lot of internet. But yeah, we'll keep you guys informed.
Well, just remember, the race is second. The Detour Live is the most important thing today.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
All right, guys.
See you guys.
Good on you, boys.
Fellas. No worries.
Take it
Thanks,
easy.
fellas. See ya.
I don't think they quite got that last joke, Johnny.
No.
Robbie, can you hear us? You're back, mate. Have you found a pocket of 4G service in the hotel?
No. The internet around these parts is cut.
Well, we'll cut straight to the chase, Robbie, if you can hear me, mate, because we've just been showing you doing all your schoolmaster stuff with all the circles around the riders and the positions. Look fantastic. I want to get your thoughts on Sagan's disqualification or relegation. Robbie?
No?
I don't know what you're asking. Just I said yesterday that Peter Sagan's disqualification, the whole incident, if that was in the 80s, nobody would have said a thing. If it was in the 90s, he might have got a warning. Early 2000, a 50-50 on the jury. In the teens and especially now in light of what happened in the Tour of Poland with Fabio Jakobsen.
Okay, I keep telling you if we need this sign language person.
We've seen lately in a focus on safety, he was never with it. I honestly did bad and all. And you've got to watch it a number of times. You've got to watch it in slow-mo. Barriers were actually coming out a little bit onto the road barriers. And media.
Yeah, I think the connection is pretty much dead. I think the crux of
Yeah, I'm getting the gist of what you're saying, though, Robbie. Yeah,
a little bit too small, but they've been really close to just letting.
Yeah, we might have to leave it there. I think because we can only get sort of one word in every 6. Yeah, sorry about that, mate. the internet is just continuing to let us down. Hopefully, when these he's gone. These 5G towers kick in, John. The D2 Alive will just be a seamless production. But I think what he's trying to say there is the early days, they'd let it go. But because safety is such a big priority now in cycling, they're going to come down hard on those sort of incidents and throw the book at them. Yeah.
I'm glad you could translate that for me, mate. That's very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I just got bits and pieces. And then he's something about a selfie stick. But anyway, Robbie's just sent a text. He said, next time by carrier pigeon. Okay, let's go to an interview with Phil Liggett, the voice of cycling from earlier today. I've got Phil Liggett. Unfortunately, Phil, if he couldn't be here, and believe it or not, he's got technical issues. It's not like John, is it?
Dan, John has had technical issues for at least 30 years, mate. This is no exception. But I feel sorry for him. He'd be so exasperated not being able to
Now, last time we spoke to you, record numbers on the NBC coverage. Have we seen that increase, or is it holding firm? How's it all going?
To be honest, I was so elated with the 20% increase. I've never asked the question since, so I don't know is the answer. But here we are, sort of 12 days into the tour, and the figures are good, though. They're very happy because it's difficult timeshare. It's very much like SBS, but the other end of the time scale, because just as SBS guys are going to bed at 2 and 3 in the morning, the guys in the United States and California, they're getting up at that time. And I had an email this morning from a chap in Alaska who said, hey, don't forget to give me a shout out because I start watching the show at 2 a.m. in Alaska.
Wow.
So to get good figures, obviously we don't get huge figures in the first hour or two of the race from that side of America. We do on the East Coast. And then gradually it's finishing at a great time. It's before people go to work. So the figures are pretty good then.
Now, what's your thoughts on the race this year? Obviously, the young brigade are killing it in the GC. Seems to be a big changing of the guard, mate.
They've been threatening for a few years now, and I think this is the tour to prove it. The youngsters are back. It was hinted at last year, of course, with the great ride of Tadej Pogacar in the Tour of Spain, youngest ever guy to podium since the wars. So he's doing pretty well. And although I think it had to come sooner or later. And I keep thinking that what Geraint Thomas and Chris Froome are thinking, riding in the Tirreno Adriatico, thinking, well, just as well we're not there, perhaps, because those kids are starting to look rather useful right now. But it is the change in the guard. But hey, going under the radar at the moment is the kind of resurgence from the French cyclists. Romain Bardet is up there in 4th place, and well talked about by the French before the tour started was Guillaume Martin. Well, he's in 3rd place and talking it all up. So it's a very different tour, and it's a very interesting tour.
Now, one thing people might not know is when you were at the Tour Down Under, you were giving an honorary doctorate. So I think you're known now as Dr. Phil. Now, perfect time to ask Dr. Phil, what's the latest with the COVID situation, mate?
Well, it's getting a little bit worse in the UK here. I'm sticking to the rules because the pubs are open. But if I was to go in, you have to leave your name and address and telephone number when you go in for a drink. And if somebody during the period you are in the pub gives a positive, then you're out for 2 weeks. And I can't afford not to be here. So when I realised that, I've not been near the pubs at all, just in case. But basically, we are on the increase with new cases. I think we've had about 10,000 in 4 days, but very few deaths. Only 8 yesterday. I say only 8, but this is nothing. There's more than that get killed on the road in the morning in the UK. So, but they're very worried about the spike. France is even worse. France is coming up the scale rather rapidly, and they're getting up to 9,000 cases a day. There's even a rumour started to circulate in France, unconfirmed and totally denied, of course, by the race organisation, that the Tour de France would consider finishing on the last day in the Alps, which is Saturday week, and not go to Paris at all, because Paris is a red zone. Everybody must wear masks in and outside, and you're going to get thousands of people on the Champs-Élysées. It's okay, the riders will finish, but what will be the aftermath in the situation of such a gathering of people? So they're saying nothing, but that's the talk on the street, and I'll wait and see, because I don't want this race to be disrupted. But the last day does nothing anyway, does it? So we could finish.
Yeah. Interesting stuff there from Phil about potentially not riding in Paris, iffy.
Interesting for me too, because I never heard it before when you were taping it, but I think I come in on part 2.
That's right. Part 2, John finally gets his Wi-Fi
Johnny's back.
sorted out. Johnny,
Hey!
how's your internet?
Now, you mustn't ask me the same questions now that Dan just asked me.
Yeah, no, we've covered all the current stuff, and I mentioned how he's known as Dr. Phil now, so we've got the Dr. Phil update on COVID. Hey, one other thing, Phil, is you're in the news in Australia at the moment because the government has announced funding for a documentary on Phil Liggett that will be coming out at the Adelaide Film Festival.
The voice of cycling. Yeah, well, that's the official poster. I'm flattered and I'm totally in awe. There's a company rang me up over 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago, and I was just going to the pub. I saw the WhatsApp come in. I said to my wife Trish, I said, "Hey, I quite fancy this. People have been asking me to write a book for years, and I've been turning it down. But to have a documentary made of my life, so I said that appeals to me." So I just wrote back a one line saying, "Great idea, let's talk more," thinking nothing more of it. And it came to fruition in the March. That was Christmas time. In the March, the camera crews hit town, followed me for nearly 2 years.
Wow.
2 people, a camera, soundman, and a producer. It was just amazing. And they saw my other life in Africa. So that's become a major part of the documentary, my life with the rhinoceros, and also with my life in South Australia, particularly with the koalas and the fires which have destroyed them. So it's become a major documentary. It's finished. It's locked in. It's 1 hour and 50 minutes long. I was in tears when they sent me a rough cut, and Trish and I just sat privately and watched it. We were watching for any errors in the film, that's all. And I just loved it. I just couldn't believe it. Well, frankly, that I achieved so much in my life. I didn't even see it. To me, it's just been fun and a terrific journey. But they've made an incredible film out of it. And it will be launched, I think it's October the 22nd. It's around that time at the Adelaide Film Festival. And the Aussies get first crack because, God bless the Aussies, the money's come from Australia and it's cost quite a lot.
Well, I was
You're
going to
almost an Aussie, mate. You're almost an Aussie.
Does it cover?
I feel I am. I mean, well, I know Australia like you guys, and I love the people. I love the cycle. I've watched the cyclists come through from real trials like the days of Phil Anderson, one of the most talented guys we'll ever know, from the long back history, Hubert Opperman and Russell Mockridge, and now to a tenner penny now, the Aussies in Europe, and everyone makes a reputation for himself. They don't come and make up the crowds; they achieve. So yeah, I've loved to see the way Australian cycling has progressed.
Does it go back to the 70s and the 80s for Phil Liggett, because they were a real sort of sex, drug, and rock and roll period for yourself, and it wasn't until sort of Sherwin come along that you really sort of settled down, I heard.
Well, they started off with my life up in the north, and there's a lot of pictures of me as a racing cyclist. People don't think I ever rode a bike, and how I didn't take the pro contract and friendship that grew with Eddie Merckx, etc. And they traced my whole life story. And because Trish has been part of my journey the whole way, she's got quite a big part in it as well. There's a nice scene of Trish. She's wherever she is, she does her dance practice, because she dances all the time, competitively. And she's dancing on the deck with an elephant standing 6 feet away from her, thinking, what on earth is that? That's
awesome.
It's a lovely story. It's fabulous. We've got helicopters in it where we chase rhinos. And I think it'll be, I thought you're wasting your time spending all this money on me. But now I've seen the show. It's just a nice film. And I sound very conceited saying it. I'm not. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Geez, you might have to get a penguin suit for the Oscars, mate.
No,
imagine that.
If people think I'm making a fortune, there's nothing in it for me. And the object of the film, I have to unload what I might have done in a book, and I might still do one day. But no, it's the two people who've burnt hours. Like, I thought I worked long days on the Tour de France. These guys, Eleanor and Nick, the producer and the camera woman, they have been amazing. They're working every day from 6 a.m. and they work till midnight. They've been locked down too in Melbourne, where they come from. So they've had big problems finishing the film off. They can't cart these big machines back home. They've got to be in the office to make the film, and you well know, Dan, what it takes to make a film. It's come out. They're so happy. They're so happy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to seeing it. Great stuff from Phil. And part 3 is when John finally contributes something to the chat. Now, if you're going to contribute anything...
I got an invite to the premiere, but it's in South Australia, and they won't let us Mexicans in there. So
it's a problem, but don't worry, John. I'll see you get a film because you've got a part in it. Oh, my goodness. We tried to get it cut out, but they wouldn't hear it.
Oh, good. So I missed the first part, so I guess how can I ask that question? You probably already asked it by the sounds of it.
I didn't ask anything about Caleb or anything like that, John.
No.
So.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, mate, the race just keeps giving and giving. It's been a sensational bike race. So what did you think of last night's amazing sprint stage?
Well, in all fairness, Caleb spoke to us on the NBC at the start in the morning, and the guy is so mature. He has it all worked out, and with his team, Jasper de Buys is his final lead-out man, and they are friends. They're real friends. There's a chemistry between the two of them. So Jasper knows what he's got to do for Caleb approaching the finish. They both read the weather. They read the wind correctly. They knew about the slight rise up to the finish. They knew it was going to be a headwind. They just knew it all. And this guy, given the right chance, I think he's now the best sprinter in the world. And we've watched him progress, John, through the Bay Classics and right through his Australian career. So we've had many dinners with Mum and Dad and Caleb in the hotel in Geelong, and it's nice to see a guy come to the top like this. There's not many more shots left now. I mean, arguably a week next Friday they might have another sprint, and of course in Paris on the last day. But that's it. The sprinters have to just get to Paris now. A brilliant sprint. Sagan's getting a bit cheeky now. He's pushing his weight around a bit too much. That hole was never there until he made it.
Exactly right. Right.
Yeah, I feel sorry because Peter, just for me this year, he's showing the signs of tipping over the peak of his career, and he's not sprinting as he used to.
Well, I thought that until yesterday, but I got to say, he actually sprinted. I mean, it suited him slightly uphill like that, but he was going. I mean, if he had got through that gap without having to run into Van Aert, he probably would have won it. But I just wanted to say there's one thing I noticed yesterday that I really enjoyed: the friendly rivalry between Caleb and Sam Bennett. The way they punched hands, they're really good mates.
I've got a photo of that, John. Look at that.
Look at that. No, they are demons on the bike, different characters. They both want to win, but they are very, very good friends, and that's good to see. It's really good.
Evidently, they share. They're in the same apartment block in Monaco, and also Caleb's married. Caleb's wife Ryan is Irish as well, so there seems to be a couple of connections there.
Well, there's two things I didn't realise.
He's just giving you ammo.
We're just about 2 hours away from starting coverage. It'll be 6 o'clock in the morning in the States when we start coverage today on this 12th stage. I'll use that. I didn't know they had an apartment block in Monaco. No.
How do you go with the commentary, Phil, when it's people that you know and you've spent time with? Does the decibels go up a little bit? Do you get that extra bit excited?
I try not to be a biased commentator. Everybody's got to have a shot at it and tell the story. But the answer is, you know the guys very well. I used to be the same with Sean Kelly and indeed with Robbie McEwen, because Robbie was a terrific sprinter and a very exciting sprinter. And Caleb takes a lot after Robbie. Always comes from deep down the peloton to win stages with an incredible turn of speed, Ewan.
And Sagan takes after Robbie too with the headbutt.
Well, oh dear, you've got a long memory, Dan.
Yeah, that's right. Got the headbutt gag in again, Johnny. Good thing Robbie's actually dropped off. Now, here's the last part of our chat with Phil, where you relive some earlier.
You take me back now, Phil. I can remember you and I standing there watching the final stage of the Bay Crits. I think it was the Mitchelton Bay Crits back then, and in the 17 he was young Caleb. It was his first time we spotted him, and the last stage was in Williamstown, and Alan Davis, who was world-class road sprinter, had ran third, I think, in Paris-Roubaix that year, and he had a lead out going with his teammate from Green Edge. Come to me in a minute.
Durbridge.
No, sprinter. It'll come to me in a second. But anyway, they came to the last corner, flat out. No, close, but anyway, no cigar. And Caleb just stepped off third wheel and went past them like they were standing still. And he was only 17. And he ran second to Alan Davis in that. And Lee Howard, it was the Geelong boy who I should have remembered straight away. Lee Howard leaning out, Alan Davis flat out into the last corner. He came around the corner, stepped off, and just went straight past them. 17. I thought, wow.
No, that was the thought. I mean, we all knew he was good. He stage win 3 tours, and he had to move on from the Orica Green Edge squad because they were changing direction in the design of cyclists they wanted. So he had to make the move. But my goodness me, he made a good move, and he knocked out Andre Greipel to take his role as the top sprinter for Lotto Soudal, and. It's paid off. And quite clearly, the Belgian team love him. They sacrifice everything for him. And don't forget, his team has been decimated here at the Tour. You've only got Ghent for the long-term pacemaking. The other 3 riders are just the other 2 riders rather are dedicated to look after Caleb. Because the team has lost a few riders with problems.
Well, I lost John Deckencobb and Philippe Gilbert, 2 not bad bike riders who would have been able to really do a lot for him. But he seems to be going okay.
And then just before the rest day last Sunday, they lost one of the first timers in Steph Kras. So they lost 3 riders off the team, and he's still winning races. So. Now it'll be a different plan now, a different battle plan until we get to the further down the road and we cross the Alps.
Good stuff. Anything else to add, Diffie? All good?
No, that's been absolutely great to catch up again, Phil, as always, and we'll make sure we catch up again in the last week.
I look forward to it, John. I'm shutting my little box. I've got used to the drive now every day. We've got it down to 1 hour, 3 minutes, aiming to beat the hour when the first shot opportunity comes. Now the kids are back to school, the traffic has increased as well, and but when you come round past London Heathrow Airport, the slip road that normally goes into the airport, I'm using as a shortcut. There's no cars on it. In the old days, you wouldn't get down that road in less than 30 minutes, and it's only 1 kilometre long because they're all piling into the airport. It's the only way in. But I'm using it as a shortcut now and coming in.
That's a good story.
It's a whole different world, John. It's a whole different
world. It certainly is, mate. Great to speak to you, pal.
Thanks for joining us, Phil.
Thank you, guys. Mate. Yeah, stay in touch. Lovely. Bye-bye.
Yeah. That was the voice of cycling, Phil Liggett. And we're getting some comments in, John. We're doing our bit to sell tickets. Yvonne Bonnie Armstrong, I just bought a ticket to the Adelaide Film Festival to see it in late October. So there you go. And Gary Ross says, morning, Phil. He's a legend. And then Michael Addison, Robbie, get off the country Vodafone network.
He's in the middle of Sydney, but anyway. One of those texts that came through before from Alan Sovereign, who talked about Matty Hayman in the time trial, slow down, giving a bidden. That he was in the car with me. I remember that. That did happen exactly as he said. Yeah. So there you go.
Good bloke, Hayman. Now we better thank our sponsors, Johnny. Lexus of Blackburn. Go down and see the Moore family.
Yes, they'll be opening up very soon, and got the best range of cars. And there he is, Jack Fowler, legend, winner of the first stage in the first Sun Tour. Got the first yellow jersey, and of course you're whacking in, or you're taking it out now.
No, I'm too scared. I've stopped it.
Mitchelton Winery and Mitchelton Hotel on the beautiful Goulburn River in the Gambie. Make sure lockdown's over. First place you book in is the Mitchelton Hotel.
Let's go motorhomes.
Yes, we've got that competition running, so keep those questions coming. Let's go motorhomes. I think we're still running the early bird special at the moment, but they've sent us through, I saw an email, the early bird special, of some new specials that we've got to put up. So you were CC'd in at 10, so make sure you do. But Andrew, he's fantastic in it. Let's go motorhomes.
Jeez, yeah. Try throwing me under the bus there, mate. Let's study off air chat. All right, here's
under the Let's Go motorhome, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Here's a quick word from our mates at Bike Exchange.
We are the world's #1 bike marketplace with over 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Now, we were going to be chatting with Sam Bewley. Unfortunately, he's stuck. Could you see this? He's still trying to get his cast put on. So they sent him a message and said, oh, yeah, come down at 10 o'clock. This is at 9:30. He's like, okay, sweet. You know, that shouldn't take longer than 2 hours. I'll be able to get on the show. No worries. And he'd been sitting there for, an hour 45 and no one had seen him. So that's how they roll over there, unfortunately, in Spain. So we'll get Bewley on tomorrow and we'll have a chat with him. Now, part of the preparation for the clips today for our favourite segment, which is...
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The Detour DeLorean. In 2016 at the Giro, I said to Bewley, all right, I'll go behind you in the time trial, and then I'll give you some information in your ear. I said, what sort of info do you want? He said, I want a little bit of Steve, I want a little bit of Lorenzo, I want a little bit of Whitey. So I tried to give him a bit of flavour from all of those 3 or 4 sports directors. And this is what happened on that stage.
Okay, Sam, plan today, as you know, we went through as just a steady pace, mate, and get into a good rhythm.
That's it, Bills. Giving it some stick, mate, especially in this early part.
Good job, Sam. Good job.
Yeah, left turn ahead. Full gas, full gas.
Sam, it might only be 10 Ks, but remember, eat and drink, mate. Eat and drink. In fact, you've got no food, so just drink.
Yeah, don't want to rattle you, Sam, but you got bloody movie star breathing up your butt, so you might want to open up the pipes there, mate.
Yeah, come on there, Sam. You've got the push, eh? Come on there. Venga, Senor, venga! Oh, look at these Muppets. Get off the road. Come on there. Final kilometre. Come on there. Push. Come on. Come, Jules. Right to the line. Don't you leave anything left in the tank.
Yeah, look, I didn't even take a radio, Jonesy.
What?
Yeah.
So you didn't get any of that?
Nah, but I'm sure it was good.
So that was a complete waste of time. But things we used to get up to back then.
We got to see it, mate. We loved it.
Yeah. Well, that was the year I was tossing up between playing that and the OGE when we had the Lego, when the Giro wouldn't allow us race vision. So we recreated the stages with Lego, and Bewley was part of the commentary team with Luca Mez-Getz. So yeah, it was pretty funny. But as we said, we'll reconnect with Bewley tomorrow and see how he's traveling, because obviously, he's pretty devastated by the crash and being his first tour. He would have loved to have finished with the guys in Paris for sure. Now, the time has come, John, where everyone wants to know who is your tip for stage 12. I think the stage would be underway, so this is probably going to be live betting. Do you know who's in the break?
No, I doubt there'd be a break as yet, but Matty Hayman's going to keep me texting, but he hasn't texted me yet. So I don't.
He said he would, but he probably won't.
No, he never lets me down. No, he's a man of his word, Matt Hayman.
Is he?
Yes, very much.
Okay.
I'm going to go for a little bit out there today. I was leaning towards Sagan because he'll be up the road, but I reckon I'm going to go for Daryl Impey.
Yep, I think that's
good odds.
Not too
good
bad.
odds. $23.
Okay, I think Greg Van Avermaet. I think he's.
How'd you say it?
I think he's Van Avermaet. He's that's right. I think he's going to be pretty good value. Now there is a breakaway of 4 riders: Luis Leon Sanchez, Imanol Aviti, is it? Pollitt and Walshield. So, but they've only got 26 seconds, so they'll pull them back. And then
they'll get joined. I reckon they'll have at least a dozen up the road today.
Yep. And congratulations to Bewley as well. The Social Distance podcast, Iffy, is number 1 on the charts in New Zealand. So I was going to talk to him about that. I think the timing was pretty good. And it's neck and neck in Australia, Johnny. If you look at the Social Distance, is ranked 92, and the old Detour rounds out at 94. So it's neck and neck between those two. So make sure
we've got to get in front of them.
So what we need people to do to get behind the show is make sure you subscribe, leave a rating, review. You can follow us again on YouTube, search the Detour Podcast, and also on Facebook.com/Detour Pod. Any final things you want to add, Johnny, before we go?
Yes. I ignored Vazzy when he put his very good question through before, because he asked about whether Sagan should have been relegated, and we haven't actually spoken much about that stage, because I thought it was one of the most amazing final 10Ks, most boring stage for most of it, but the last 10 kilometres was just brilliant, and the 5 kilometres especially, they were all out, and I thought Caleb was just brilliant. He got himself right near the front, probably even too far up towards the front for a while there, just snuck back in and rode beautifully. And fantastic to see the 4 best sprinters in the bike race across the road, just half a wheel between the whole 4 of them. It was just amazing.
Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, all the COVID stuff doesn't impact that final stage, like going on the back of what Phil said, because that's sort of the last big chance for the sprinters, isn't it? The Paris one?
Yeah, there is one. I think it's stage 19. There's one coming up, I think Friday week, which it's lumpy. They might get through. There's a chance for them, but Paris, of course. Look, they'll be racing in Paris. I think there's so many rumours have been going around, and most of them are just, people love a conspiracy theory. So they'll be in Paris.
Yeah. All right. Well, fingers crossed. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, we're same time tomorrow, 7:30, for another episode of Detour Live. Go Van Avermaet, and you're on Daryl Impey. See how we go.